Well, hello and welcome to the wrap. This is the show running up all things Zwift from last week. We're talking racing, we're talking events, we're talking tech, we're talking fashion. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And this is also a podcast that you can download after the recording live. Head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast to find all of the latest episodes, as well as this one after the live recording. This is episode number 73 on Thursday, December 7th, 2023. I'm Nathan Guerra. Anna Russell is sat next to me virtually, coming out of New Zealand. I'm coming out of the US of A, and we've got a lot of good topics for you today. We're going to be talking about Echelon Racing League and some amazing battles that we saw there. We're going to be talking about the update 1.54, as well as the new levels, up to level 100 now. Plenty of stuff when it comes to the climb portal. There's all kinds of things that we're going to go through in this update. ZRL, ZGP updates, as well as NPC stories and graphics reminder to be throwing those in. We do have a couple of good fashion submissions. We really appreciate those coming in. There's also some of our gripes we've been listening to. I'm not sure if it was us, but the workout screen got an awesome update. On the Coach's Corner, a little bit of mindset matters stuff. Some cool stuff about belief and why it does matter, what you believe about the stress you're experiencing in your workouts or life in general. The Jersey pick of the week is the Fondo Feast kit. we'll probably be doing a couple of those. I would think a couple more of those also as the fondos continue throughout the winter. New running enhancements coming to Zwift. I didn't see what's this all about. This is a new one to me. And then Fearless Women's Team Championship is this weekend. We'll give you the lowdown on that. But as always, first and foremost, what have we been up to when it comes to Zwifting stuff over the last week? We're going to throw it over to Anna.
Hello, Nathan. I'm in Topor for anyone who's watching live. So I've got like bedroom cam going on and just realized my hair looks really weird because I just got out from swimming in the lake, which was beautiful. Took the kids down there and usually it's really cold, but it was actually pretty nice. I did a little bit of freestyle and no, it's awesome. We've got Ironman here tomorrow. So here to support a bunch of athletes and friends. So it'd be great. But I've actually done a whole lot on Zwift this week, which has been awesome. So I had... During the weekend, I went and did the Feast Fondo and I did the 90-kilometer one. And that's the first time I've done a Fondo on Zwift. And I talked with my coach, Claire, afterwards. And I was like, that was different to what I thought. I was picturing like a tour of Watopia vibe. But we went out and I was with the like lead group. And it's 92 kilometers, I think. And they were averaging like 4 watts a kg. I was like, I can't do this. Like I'm so wasted. And I had a really big night out on the Friday. That's where I was leaving the pod last week. So I was feeling fairly sorry for myself. But the Fondo, I just dropped back and joined in with another group. It was really fun, actually. And when we finished, a few of us just went and rounded out the 100K. So it was good times. I really, really liked it. And so I'll definitely be there doing the long versions of the New Year's Eve kind of Fondo theme. And then there's the Christmas Fondo theme. So yeah, I'll be definitely up for those. Then I did a really, really hard workout, really hard on Monday. I've tried it 3 times. This was the 3rd time and I'd failed on both tries, 1 and 2. And I was determined to just finish it. And if I put a reel up on Instagram,
post? That's the Instagram post.
Yeah. I've like never been so close to like thinking I was going to be sick. Like, and if you look at the video, I'm just like dry heaving. Like I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to be sick. And there were a whole bunch of people that tuned in and were cheering me on, which really, really helped. So that was awesome for everyone who did that. And then yes, ZRL. I announced it last week. I was like, I want to win. So went and did ZRL. We had it on Suki's Playground. I didn't win. I came second. And thank you to all the people who messaged me and were like, good job putting it out there. And you did awesome. Like I came second by like 300th of a second. But in reality, like Angela owned me in the sprint.
It was Roberts. So. Yeah, I was going to ask if it was Angela.
Yeah. And I think like in hindsight though, like looking back, I don't think in a team event I want to go for the win again, personally. It just did not vibe with me during the race. Like I felt I've never talked so little in a race because I felt like usually I'm chatting like, maybe we should give this a try. Maybe we should do this. Let's like, Riot style is racing a bit crazy, right? And doing fun stuff. And usually it's, to be honest, a lot of the time me being like, we should go try this and let's go do this. Usually with Jen being like, tone it down, do something a bit more sensible. But I found I didn't want to make any calls because I felt selfish, like, oh, we should do this so I get the win. We should do this so I can win, So I was just like stuck in this vibe of not wanting to like do anything. Sorry, my mom's alarm's going off. So it was funny. I messaged Claire afterwards. I was like, I don't want to do that again. Like I'll go for a win in an individual race, but I don't like it in the team one. I don't know if you've got thoughts on it. It just gave me a funny vibe.
Well, it's interesting because if you put all of the resources into that and it's just about a single individual winning, then that ends up happening where it's like everybody else is just there to serve that purpose. And that's the only thing. What we tend to do is we just tend to like see if we can get somebody to stick it off the front over and over again, and all different people try over and over in different kinds of ways. And then eventually if it sticks, okay, cool. It worked out. Maybe get one to go across or something. But like, yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate a little bit to that, but the way that it usually works in our team, and that, so I'll talk to a little bit then about what I've been up to. So Echelon Racing League this past weekend actually made it so that there wasn't a lot of sleep that had happened. And I know it was only like Saturday morning, but the amount of extra productions that we had done to get ready for ERL has just been a lot. And on top of that, the training I've been trying to do, and then I just gotten off on the way that I was sleeping, and then I ended up just passing out after ERL because I was going on like 2 hours of sleep, I think, at that point, and that was after like multiple days, kind of that kind of situation. And I slept until late, and then you wake up late, and you're like, now what am I gonna do? So I raced the Kiss 100 at midnight because of it, actually. Yeah, and then I just like stayed up the whole day, and then went to sleep really, really early on Sunday night. Like really early. I think I went to sleep at 3 p.m. on Sunday night and then slept until the next day at 8 a.m. or like 9 a.m. or something. Like, I mean, I went full. Yeah. So it's good because I caught up on a ton of sleep, but I missed out a little bit of training that I wanted to do, but it's fine. Like it was a good reset. And then just raced the ZRL. That I also picked up, Gabby was a little sick the last couple of weeks. Well, I picked it up kind of like I couldn't swallow, but it never went below the throat. So like if it doesn't go below, when it didn't go to my body at any point where I had aches or anything, because that's when you have to completely chill out. So I kind of chilled out also, and like I only did like maybe short races or just like really chill, like zone 1-2 kind of stuff. And ZRL was good. I definitely am still learning the pack dynamics, like as far as the sprinting goes. It's so not what I'm used to. And also I've noticed that like since my injury, my kick has like disappeared. And I think my back is just it's got a limiter that like it's not like I like mentally know it's there or I'm even conscious of it. I think my body just says no. You are not allowed to punch. You are not allowed to do that neural like snap. You're not going to do that. Like because you're gonna snap if you do. And so that's been a little bit frustrating because I tend to be a good sprinter and a punchy rider, and I'm like, man. So like, anyways, it's like rebuild time. We did the ZGP today, and I got a little excited, and like I was like toward the front, and in Zwift Grand Prix we were on Muckle Yin, and I'm like well positioned for the first sprint, and so I'm like, well, I'm here, and I've got the feather. And I'm right on this guy's wheel, and I'm holding his wheel, and he's going. So I was like, all right, I'm going to open up. So I opened up full gas, and was like, oh, I'm here. I'm not here. No, the whole pack comes flying by, and I'm like, oh, man. And so, like, full match burnt, like, completely burnt for no points. And, like, I looked over at Gabby, and I did one of these. Like, I was like, we still have 2 times up that Skur climb, and I'm done right now. Like, oh, no. So... yeah, a little bit of mistakes were made, kind of a feeling after that. Because if I probably could have made it over the Skur if I wouldn't have done that. But yeah, and that actually, so it's interesting. The last 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks or so, it's been a little bit like questioning what I'm going to do with this rest of this indoor season. But interesting enough, it's turned a corner this last week because the pain is gone. And like, I'm starting to sense that the sickness now that I just had, it was like thing after thing after thing. We're like, oh man, now I'm sick. Can't train again. Like what the heck? And so today, actually after the race was the first time I was like, I feel good enough to keep riding right now. And like, just did some base work afterwards. And then I went and like lifted today again. And then like, oh, okay. We're starting to get maybe on a little bit of a rhythm just in the last 24 hours. So that's nice. But
nice. That's it's probably how I felt when you were in summer and I was in the middle of winter having like an operation and then was really sick and was like, oh, Nathan's just firing on all cylinders. And I was like, oh, and now it kind of reversed. I think there's always that period in winter, right, where it's just kind of flatten off a bit. But yeah, like I've said, I think you're going to come back really well, and you're sensible and smart, and you're not going to do anything stupid, right? Right, Nathan?
Right. Yeah. Like, I only picked up a 20-pound weight today. That was it. Okay.
Okay.
Only a 20-pound weight. Like that was it. So we're definitely being very smart about it, actually. So it's good.
I think the ZRL, we were talking about it pre-show. I think the ZRL lesson to me this week was making sure that my motivations to race align with what I'm trying to do. So like I realized in that race that my motivations for doing ZRL is I like talking on Discord with the girls. Um, and having a great race is awesome. And I loved coming second. Angela was amazing. It was awesome to like be sprinting up against her. And yeah, I want to do well, but I think like the overriding thing is I actually prefer just chatting and having a good time. And so I think like being really clear on that. And when they were misaligned for me, like I kind of finished that race and was like, that was like the best ZRL result I've ever had, and I just
and you didn't have fun.
funny.
You didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't like it. Like I didn't have a lot of fun. I just felt like I wasn't being a team player the whole time, and so I was like, and the team were all on board. They were awesome, but I was just me. It just didn't the whole race. I was like, this doesn't sit right. So anyway, I will put out the goal of wanting to win something when it's an individual race, and I can just go and do it and not, it's fine.
Now, what I found interesting about that course was with the ZRL was that it definitely lended toward bunch sprints. There wasn't a lot of breakaway situations, actually. Tons and tons of bunch sprints.
I think
I almost made it snap. I really, really came so close to, and I just didn't commit enough. And I think the sickness was still there a little bit for me. I really think I could have made it snap if I had a little bit more fitness, but coming over the third time over the top, like there's 3 climbs really, right? You got the first one to the top of the castle, then you do the halfway, and then you do another time that last one to the top of the castle. I had a feather, and I went from like the turn by the boars where the boars are running by. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're like almost up there. I hit it full gas, 9 watts per kilogram, all the way up. Had 3 on my wheel, and then just nobody would roll through. And I think everybody was just and like, I was like, oh, come on, let's go. Cause we had 3 seconds. I think we would have gone at that point, but then there's so much downhill after that. People can bring it back pretty easily.
And downhill and flat, like if it was downhill to the line, like that you were at the top of the climb, you're a kilometer away from the finish, I think it would be very different. But you're like, by the time you do it that second time, you're like 5 kilometers with downhills. I was like, it's just, even with new dynamics, it doesn't really make sense. But I am going to give a hot tip for that course because someone came into my stream and gave it to me, and it actually really made a difference. So, leading into the final sprint on that downhill, and it kind of goes down, down, down. There's this tiny segment, and I went back and watched my stream. I was like, it is real because I felt it, but I wasn't quite sure. And this guy was like, down by that bus stop, it goes up to 4% for like a second.
Just a little bump, right? A little bump, and then it's the S turn. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you launch at that bump, it's like perfect timing. And I think that might have been where Lou Bates launched. Yeah, so I launched as soon as I felt the pressure come on my pedals, because I was like almost at 100%. I think I'd lowered it to like 70. It as soon as I felt the pressure come on, I went straight into the sprint, and it rolled over with all this momentum, and that's where Angela and I basically caught the girl in front and went ahead.
Okay, gotcha. So and you guys got a good enough gap to hold off, eh?
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, Angela was, we steamed past them. Like, when I watched it again, I was like, oh, yeah, we were pretty far in front. Like, the pack was quite far back.
Interesting. Oh, it's a good call. That's a good shout out. Good shout out there. Okay, well, that's what did you think of ZG? Let's go over a quick Zwift Grand Prix today. What did you think? Did you watch it? Did you check it out at all? No.
Sorry, I was in a car driving down to here. So I'll leave you for give me a rundown.
It was short and insane. It was essentially like it was a 30 minute, like 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes, full gas, like just.
Wow.
I mean, it's 30 minutes of like an initial and then kind of like positioning, and for a minute or two it slows down, and then it's like just set up for the next sprint, set up for the climb, set up for the next sprint, set up for the climb. Now and then like after that it's just all out to the end. Now I got dropped, and then I was like, for me it's just my perspective, but I watched it back and it's like I don't know. I mean, it's just like sprint, blows it up kind of, some fall off, sprint again over the top of a climb, it's like half the pack, then it's like sprint again, now it's down to like, I don't know, 20 or 30, then over the top and there's like 10 left, and then you do the Clyde kicker and there's like 7 or 8 or maybe 9 left, and then just kind of this drawn out catch, or I think Martin's got away, but like it was interesting. I mean, it was definitely from the racers made the race. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I just like,
who won it?
Martin Mertens walked away, and I
Oh
think
wow. Okay.
Modding may have gotten 2 goals, and Modding battled for the next spot. But like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I definitely wanted a longer race. Like, I am looking forward to something a little bit longer. I think FTS and FAL are fun. They're fun racing mode. I'm not really like at the
Yeah.
highest level of racing. I'm kind of like, eh,
Yeah.
like I don't know about
Did you
this.
guys have did you have allocated power-ups like we are
Yes,
in
I
ZRL
agree. I
next week?
did like that. I did like that. That
Yeah.
was cool. That was definitely
So I
cool.
did want to quickly answer a listener question I had during the week from Lisa McDermott around, I'd mentioned it last week and it's going to be really important for this course next week, is what I call hoarding a power up. Now she asked, can you save all your power ups and use them all at once on a segment? That would be rad, but you can't. What I'm talking about here is, so in the course coming up, like saving your feather, like getting your feather, not using it on the breakaway bray, saving it, so holding on to it, not getting a new power up, just trying to do breakaway bray without using a feather. That means if everyone else has used a feather around you, which they probably will, unless they listen to this podcast, they will not have a feather for the Sker Summit.
Mm-hmm.
So then it means you've saved something that almost nobody else has. So it kind of relies on you really making the effort to stay with the group and not hitting that little key to do the power up. But that's what I mean by hoarding. And I think it makes a huge difference in these races where it's allocated. Because if everyone just uses the power up at each segment, well, who cares? Whereas if you can save something and use it at a time no one else does,
I should have
I
used
think that's
that.
a big advantage.
I should have used that. I definitely should have. You know, I didn't know what the power ups were until about, I think, the stream went live, and like there wasn't anywhere to really know. I don't know. Like for some reason, I just didn't know. I don't know. Like that's all I'll say about that. But so because of that, I didn't really have any planning. Now looking back, like I'm like, oh yeah, these dudes can climb a little better than me. Like I'm a pretty good punchy climber, but like definitely the top dudes can climb a little better than me on a 3-minute. But I, with a feather, probably could have held on. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of looking back going, oh shoot, that was not the right idea. You know, with getting a little too excited in that sprint and trying to be there for it. So when I I went for it for the first sprint because I suddenly found myself up toward the front, and I was like, oh, I'm in the spot where I'm supposed to be for the first time in a really long time in the new pack dynamics, you know, because it's not about sprinting from the back any longer. And suddenly I find myself getting swarmed at the line, like, there goes that match. But anyways, it was interesting. But that's really good. That's a really good one. That's a good one. And also Steamroller's not as strong anymore, too.
Yes.
It's not as strong anymore.
Yeah. And so a good one there is, and go check out Level Velo because Size Recon Notes shows at each banner what you're going to get. I put them up on a piece of paper so I can see it while I'm racing. But the other thing, so Steamroller, don't feel like you have to use it on that downhill. If you can stay with the crew and not push, and the steamroller's less powerful, you could use that steamroller in a really smart way. Like you could use it after the Clyde kicker to get away from everyone and do a solo, 1K effort to the finish. Or even just before the finish, it does go down to like a -1, I think. So again, like you could drop the steamroller and have a really good sprint. So don't be afraid to hold on to a power up.
Totally. Yep. Good call there, because I think a lot of us, even in ZGP, we're thinking about using our power-ups every time that we got them for the next section. But definitely I think holding on to them is a good call there, especially if it's going to help you where you excel or you don't excel. Like that, I think those are definitely ways that you want to think about that. So it's a good preview for next week's, and I'm excited actually to probably race next week's as well. So, all right, let's go. Echelon Racing League is kicked off. I was super excited about this, and it's qualifiers for nationals. So national championships are going to be coming on the 6th and the 7th of January, and now we've got 3 races going in, and very traditional type racing, 20 laps out on the Bell Lap in Crit City, and we saw some of the best racing I think that we've seen in a really long time, actually, out on Zwift. I don't know, like, now those are your own words, and I've been getting that feedback a lot from the community. I felt it commentating and producing it, but because I'm in the middle of all of it, I don't necessarily see why. You know what I mean? I just kind of
Yeah.
like experience the event, whereas the viewer sees whatever it is that they're seeing. So I think you have a
I'll give you
better
the
vantage
why.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you won't say this because you're too humble, but so I didn't watch, to be honest. I just tuned in for the women's race, so I'm talking purely to that. And I put a post up on Instagram like that was probably the best women's race on Zwift I have seen all year. It was. I looked at the course. I was like, oh wow, like multiple laps of Crit City. Yawn, how boring. But the riders made it awesome, and I especially want to call out Gabby and Kristen Kolchinsky, Gabriella Guerra, obviously. And it was like, I know Dave says all the time, like body blow after body blow, but seriously, like the reason it was so good is because you could see the riders in the picture almost the whole time. So instead of, if you were just watching the two avatars, honestly, you just wouldn't really care as much because they're just two computer people. But you had Gabby and KK next to each other on their bikes. If you're watching the pod, you can see it. And it just gave so much more heart and soul to the race. One, you could look at like different cadences. You could see when they were drinking. You could see like their eyes darting around. At some point, you could see them messaging, and it was like, are they messaging each other? Are they trying to get each other to work? Or are they messaging a DS? Or what is going on? And it just, the tension built up so incredibly well that I was like riveted for the whole time. And I honestly have like, I could never say I would watch a Crit City course and be that riveted. And yeah, so awesome job, Nathan. Because it's what I mentioned on the show a few weeks ago, which was when they were riding up Alpe d'Huez, and there was like a group of 5 women together with one out the front. But if they'd actually had them on their indoor trainers on a panel at the bottom the whole time, it would have been awesome. And this just showed, I mean, like, kudos to you, Nathan, because that broadcast was amazing. And the excitement, and you and Dave as well, talking about it, it built the excitement, right? Like the last 2 laps, I was just like, oh my gosh, who's gonna go? This is so, like, I was so wound up and nervous. And I mean, again, like, huge kudos as well to Gabby and KK, because you can just sit in a pack and roll around all the time. That's fun. Like, it's really boring. And this just, oh yeah, amazing. So I can't say any more good things about it. Like, it just was one of the best races I've ever seen.
Yeah, and from in the men's race as well. I mean, they went from the get go. From the get go. We actually have a little bit here where this is 1.9 kilometers in after one lap. There's a 7-second gap, and Hayden Pucker is flying. Gardner on the wheel. Duffy's there too. Stewart, Nair, Perrin. I mean, these are top names that just totally pushing the pace from the get go. And this was it. This is what ended up happening from the go. Is now you have this breakaway, and it actually, the cool thing in the men's race I felt like was that between this breakaway and then what the pack did, where they were pulling, they would pull it back within 20 seconds. They let it back out to 40. It went down to 30. It came down to 10 at one point. I mean, they were really playing games with it, where it wasn't just this boring like pack rolling around. Like, they really made this race so exciting because of that initial right from the gun go. And then there were a lot of games that were played up there too. Like, a lot of games were played up in that lead group with those men. And so, and it's interesting, like, watching how these North American teams know each other, and because they're so familiar with each other, they know exactly the script that's playing out in their head, and they're trying to mess with the script that they know that's in their head as well, and write it a little differently, and mess with it in different ways, which is great to see.
Yeah, it was, yeah, like I said, some of the best racing. And it kind of made me think a little bit. And I know it was like talked about so long ago, and there'll be maybe reasons why it doesn't happen. But I think Grand Prix is hard because there's like, what, 80 riders, 70 riders. So you're not going to get those dynamics. Like, you just won't. It's really hard to emulate, I don't know, the men's race, Mel, but what happened in that women's race? You're never going to have really 2 riders off the front just attacking each other the whole time. Like, there'll be like 30 riders up the front, right? And I think looking at this, and this is like a USA league. I mean, imagine if you had like this kind of USA league with this style of racing, Then you had a league in Europe. You had a league in like Oceanias, and they were all like doing, it was the same kind of style, smaller events, a bit more like of these kind of courses, just high energy racing. And then at some point they just come together and you've built up and you're like, okay, I've been watching, oh my God, that battle between KK and Gabby. And then you've watched something in European and you're like, well, Lou Bates and Mary Wilkinson, that was amazing. And then they come together and you're like, how is this going to come together with these guys? And I've seen them racing and I know their story. And now, like, I feel like that gives me a bit more like enthusiasm.
Yeah, right on. Well, right on. I just I like what you're saying. I don't know. Watch next Wednesday and then the Saturday. I don't know about Oceania. Well, okay, I've given away too much already. So, moving on from Echelon Racing League. What is this with the, if you want to check it out, actually as a side there or a looking forward to the next one. We're not this week, but it's every other. So we're going to have the 16th and then the 30th, I believe, of December. And then we'll have national championships the following week after that. And then we're going to have 3 more races week after week in January for Echelon Racing League. So make sure to be checking those out.
Do I need a US passport for this, or could I just like jump in?
No, you can jump in. No, you can jump in.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can register for sure.
Right.
And like there's no the only thing that you have to be part of for the US National Championships, you have to have a USA Cycling license specifically. So which is a little bit different. Yeah. I think you can just jump into the we had a woman from Sweden. It was international. There's definitely plenty of people in for the series itself. So but yeah, definitely everybody, those are all scheduled. Actually, go hit your notification bells for all of those streams, as they will be here every other Saturday through December and then all the Saturdays in January. So new running enhancements coming to Zwift. Okay, you got a survey about this because I didn't, because I don't run. So that's probably what was going on there.
Yeah, so sorry, all the cyclists out there, just close your ears for a little while. We're going to talk about running. Don't freak out. But I did get a survey about Zwift running, and I was like, well, this is great because I personally love Zwift running. I'm always on a running training plan. I use the training plans all the time, and it's actually kept me really motivated to keep running. Like I've just made this line in the sand that I don't care if people judge me for being on my treadmill. It's so easy, and I can just quickly jump on, and there's always like a workout ready for me to do, and the workouts are actually really high quality. So anyway, they sent out a survey, and there were a few things on here. I was like, I think you're doing some development in this area, because it's kind of been the forgotten about cousin that just sits there and rolls over. But some of these things I was like, this is cool. Like you had to rank what you preferred about all of these options. So it was like, I'd like integrated music to match the workouts. I'd like pace call outs when I'm running. I'd like a personalized running coach. I'd like more badges, streaks, personal
integrated bests, music specifically for the workouts.
Yeah, integrated music. So I'm not saying they're delivering this. I'm saying these were all the options
I get that.
listed.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
no, but I want to go like these are kind of fun. Like, well, what do you think of that? Would you want integrated music? Like everybody turns off the Zwift music except for when it's on Instagram, and then everybody loves it on Instagram. But like, so what?
Well, the first thought I had, I was like, how would they do that with copyrights? Like, how would they play music through?
I wonder if it'd even be like, it would be like Zwift music. It would be like Mario Kart music. Like they have their own music in Mario Kart.
Oh God. So maybe not that, but actually a couple of them I was like, yeah, like live coaching. So for example, running advice to keep proper form or to keep you motivated. Because one of the really good things about running on a treadmill is you get live data that you don't often see that's up on the screen, your cadence, heart rate, all of that. And a lot of the time the prompts and the workouts are like, make sure you're using your transverse abdominals, make sure you're slightly leaning forward, make sure you're picking up your knees. And I've actually had athletes who I'm like, you need to work on your run form. You should go onto Zwift running and do these workouts because they have a hell of a lot of good live coaching. But this sounds like it would be live, like people doing it. They have run holo replays. Would you like to do that? Improved gamification, like running PowerUps, which would be like wild. Like, I got to say, running is on Zwift is great for just running. The events out there, like the wild, wild west. Like it's just insane. Well, I mean, it's so hard, like impossible to calibrate. Like you just can't. Like I've got a run sensor on my belt. And like I look at what my treadmill says and I look at what Zwift says. I was like, these are so far apart. Like I'm not going to do a running event because it's so out of whack, right?
Really?
It would be like
Really?
yeah, it would be like looking at my power meter and it's reading 20 watts lower than my smart trainer. Like I'm not going to feel good about using that smart trainer, right? So yeah, the running events you kind of just take with a grain of salt and use them for a bit of motivation. But they've actually WTRL is doing some smart stuff in the duathlon league I saw where you have to have cadence because cadence shows that you're actually like working. Because again, the thing with the run thing is it only measures the treadmill belt speed. So I could just get off and not run and it's still going.
It's just
like,
going. Yeah,
so
yeah. You're just
yeah.
just push the button and then like increase the speed.
I know,
you're
right?
good to go, right?
So like, so it's kind of like the events would be ridiculous, but PowerUps would be fun. Like if you're on your own. So yeah, I don't know. I was quite intrigued though. I thought that was cool that they're going to put some love into it.
Oh, right on. I'm looking through some comments here. Barry O, that's kind of on the. So, is there a social aspect to the running crowd though? Like, are there good running groups? Barry O is coming in over on Twitch and saying that he's done some running last week, but it was lonely. So, like, you know.
Okay, well then I'll give a shout out. Someone sent a message. Oh, they commented on my reel, saying that they've got a great running crew coming up. Oh my gosh, my phone's on. There's like sound on it. But yeah, no, there was a group that told me that they have like a cool running group. So yeah, maybe join them. I'll try and find their name. Here we go. Every Thursday, Swedish Zwift riders group do a running group. It's only humans.
Of course, it's the Swedes.
Yeah.
They do everything.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, they're like the ultimate Zwifters.
I'd say the social part of running that I found super fun was when I did it with Team Fearless and it was the running league and you did relays. So it was around like Crit City and you ran 2K as fast as you could go and then you like tagged your running teammate
That's
and then they ran
cool
2K
idea.
as fast
Seriously,
as they could do.
that is such a cool idea.
Yeah. It was really fun. Like I like that because you're on Discord the whole time and they're cheering you on and you're cheering
and it's
them
short
on and
enough
like,
that lap is short enough that you don't have to sit for too long. And yeah, that's a pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. I could see. Hopefully, no, that wasn't in the survey though, was it? Relays, was that in the survey?
No, but it was like, do you like events and blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
So
blah
yeah.
blah 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 blah.
Blah, blah. Yeah, kind of.
All right, well, speaking of Fearless, that's a great little segue. This weekend on Saturday, is it the 6th annual, I believe? Let me just double check. Your 7th annual Women's Team Championships, powered by WTRL, Saturday, December 9th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. So if you head over to WTRL, they are doing, I'm just going to bring this up actually on screen here real quickly, but they are doing 2 different courses actually this weekend. This has been going on for a while. We have had coverage of this in the past. A and B categories are doing the Watopia Pretzel for 72.7. The C and the D are doing the new Shorelines and Summits. They also have segment points. PowerUps are on. Again, race time is 1:30 p.m. It looks like on Saturday. It closes registration at 12:30 p.m. on this Saturday, so 1 hour before the event. So you still have time to sign up. There's information about the scoring as well as the teams and all the teams that are racing. It looks like there's a lot of teams actually. Zed Sun's in here.
Yeah, it's popular.
Wow, there is a lot going on here.
Riot, here we are.
Yep, so that's going to be pretty cool, it looks like. We might do some highlights of this, actually, after it's done. We'll see if we can get some recordings or at least get some information. Looks like next, presented by Shore, Synergy's in there, Coalition, Seesaw Race Like a Girl, Team Fearless, obviously. So some big teams in there. If you haven't signed up already, make sure to go do that if you're looking for something to do this weekend with a women's team. Love to see all the participation over there and supporting Fearless. They do this every year, so 7th annual. It's been going all the way back to 2016. 2016.
Oof, that's awesome.
Pretty cool. Really, really cool. Definitely a hard course. Always. I think last year it was down San Sequoias, I believe. I remember, and tried to. It broke apart. No serious breakaways, but a reduced field sprint, I believe, is what it ended up being. So, well, a few weeks back we talked about the workout screen, and in this latest update, we'll get all about the update here. But I just want to shout this out that pretty quickly that workout screen changed after we talked about how like it was just useless. Like it was really pretty and everything. Like, so the new, like when you select the workout, it goes directly to a screen that shows you it really pretty. But then you scroll over everything that's in the workout and you just don't know what you're getting into. You had no idea you knew how long it was in just minutes total, but you could be doing intervals that were like 20 minutes or 2 minutes or 30 seconds. You have no idea. So now it actually tells you the watts. It tells you the percentage of effort. It tells you how long each one is just by scrolling over them now. So shout out to Zwift. That was a really quick turnaround on that one. They fixed that real quick.
That's good. And Gabby, I remember you saying like, Gabby would be like, I like the pretty thing, but I hate it. And
well, she was
like,
so mad, actually. She was actually like really, really mad. So, well, that's a good segue into 1.54. This is a massive update. I remember I sent you little hints about it, and you were like, what?
I know.
Level 100. Talk about just like going all in. Like we went from like level 25 to this is the biggest increase in levels we have ever seen. Because in the past it was...
Where did that come from? It's like, I didn't see this on any What's Up This Season on Zwift.
They kept it really quiet. They kept it super quiet.
Boom.
Yeah.
Like 100 straight away. Yeah. And now I'm desperately trying to find what all the unlocks are, but we don't know all of them yet. I know Eric at Zwift Insider has seen there's 2. So there was
he's running bots. I think he's running like all kinds of bots like right now to figure out everything that's actually between all of the levels.
Because there's gloves. So. There was some cool gloves, and then something like not blue suede shoes, but something that sounded like that. I'm just like absolutely pumped for the Zwift Insider article that lays out all the unlocks, because we'll be doing a full show on like rating those that we did for level 60.
All of them? All of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole show now.
In one show? Oh my God.
I'll put them in themes.
I apologize to our listeners and our viewers in advance. I mean, think about how long it takes us to do one piece of clothing. And then we're doing like 40 pieces of unlocks. This is like, we should do like levels 60 through 70, then 70 through 80. Like, all in one show. The mega unlock show. All right. The mega unlock show.
I'll curate it.
Here we go.
I'll curate it first.
Chat, let us know. Are you in for this, or let us? I want feedback about this. Do you want like one mega show? They're all gonna say mega show. I can already feel it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's so level 100. Now let's talk a little bit about how you get to level 100. They have revamped the accelerated leveling. It's like done differently now. I don't completely understand it, but you can go read Zwift Insider to learn all about how the new experience works, but you will get your stored up experience will still fast track you. So they're still fast tracking. If you go into the menu in Zwift, that is like your menu for your current ride menu, and you see on there where you're leveled, your experience that you've gotten, you will see whether or not you're fast tracked with 2 little arrows versus not 2 little arrows. And it looked like your little guy who's up there is doing a wheelie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's so cool. That was like the coolest thing. I have no idea how they calculate it, but I was like, oh my gosh, if my ride is doing a wheelie, that's awesome.
So no wheelie versus wheelie is whether or not you're fast tracked, and the double arrow. So that's still a thing. The fast track feels way faster now. Like I went from level 60 to 61 in like one ride. Boom.
Yeah. I'm on level 58. Do I have any fast track? Maybe not.
You've got to have fast track. How? No, wait. You don't have any saved up from the past. Is your person doing a wheelie?
I have to go look. Oh, I haven't gone in since that update, I don't think. How depressing. They're probably not doing a wheelie. Ugh, that's sad. Oh, wow. but I think I'm just like,
Oh, it's
yeah,
such
I'm
a
no, I'm
downer
not there.
now. Oh, Anna's like, I can see it. She's like, what? I don't get my little wheelie person?
Oh, it
No.
sucks. And what's sad is everyone's going to get the unlocks before I do. And then what'll happen, like, it was honestly like probably one of like the saddest days of my Zwift life where all I wanted was to unlock those bright colored zip wheels. You know, they're like, and I still use them even though they're a bit slower than the DT Swiss. And I unlocked them. And the next day, the DT Swiss was announced as a faster wheel set. I was like, awesome. Like, it was so deflating.
You know, what's interesting here on the unlocks is out of all the posts that have been posted by Zwift Insider, he actually gave some stats about it. And it was like 300 likes on the main update one. There was like 200 some likes on another one that was like talking about what some of the unlocks were. The Scotty the Squirrel cap that James Barnes just talked about in chat, actually, it got like 600 responses plus, and it's growing right now. Have you seen this thing?
What's this? No, what is it?
Oh man, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I gotta find it now. It's way cool. I gotta find the link. Zwift Insider did a great little post on it. I'm gonna get it for you. You just gotta go to Zwift Insider's Facebook.
So what? You can unlock it?
Yeah, it's an unlock. Yeah, it's an
in
unlock.
this new unlock thing. It's a new unlock.
Yep, it's a new unlock. Yep.
Is it like a beaver hat thing? You know, like people wear in the woods.
It's like a hat. And it's like here. It's right here. Here it is. I got it for you. So boom. There it is.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, see, this is why we have to do an entire show on this. Like, wow. That is cool.
So what does that
and
make
weird.
you like so that Valkyrie, it looks like it's the Vision Valkyrie. It's the new Vision Valkyrie hat. Because that looks like somebody.
Oh my gosh. It looks like a what is it called? A Viking hat.
Yeah, Vikings.
Oh wowza. Okay. Yep. No, that's interesting. That is very interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Go check out Zwift Insider's post, anyone who's listening, because yeah, Scotty the Squirrel hat. Okay. I'm feeling like we did it last year and I'm actually thinking I will organize it, is the wrap Christmas pod ride where we all wear our worst fashion choices.
Ooh.
Do you remember that last time? Yeah, like you just turn up in the worst outfits and it was amazing. And that, I think, if you can quickly get through and unlock that, I think that would be a great worst outfit choice.
Yeah.
What is he saying there?
Above 60 with bank is discount plus 2 times XP. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. See, this is where like the whole math of it all just whatever.
Oh, who cares?
I know,
I'm
just like,
yeah.
Whatever. And I said this actually in one of the discussions. I was like, I just ride till it's done. Like I just like that's my math. My math is I pedal until I hit the next level. So that's my math.
Yeah. I think Llama put it well. He did a YouTube on this, and it was just kind of like, if you want to know all the detail, you can go check it out, but who cares? You're just getting points. So yeah. I was like, yeah, I just want the unlocks. I don't really care.
I mean, I used to kind of care. I used to care a little bit more, but now you know what it is? I think I got burnt out on figuring it out. Like, I think I got burnt out on how many different ways that it, because it like had changed so many different times that I just kind of got burnt out on it, where I'm like, well, it just never made sense because now it's like, well, does it work? Because it's changed so many times. I'm like, does it work this way that I remember? Or does it work this way? It's like trying to remember your password after you've changed it 5 different times. And you're like, is it the one that I did 3 times ago or the one I did, or was it the one I did 50 times? You know what I mean? It's totally like trying to remember your password. Anyways.
Oh my God.
And you just get sick of it and you're like, I'm just going to redo it now. Forget it.
So There is also in the update I put in the show notes heaps of climb portal stuff.
Yeah. What do you think about that
Which
stuff? So
makes
let's
me
give a quick little update on what that is
okay.
exactly. Can you explain it?
No. But
Response: no.
no, I can't. Like, you know my feelings on climb portals. Like, I don't understand why they're becoming so complicated. But when I looked at the notes and there's like, yeah, scaling, completion track, and percentiling. What this tells me is that there is a cohort of Zwifters who love the climb portals, and this will be amazing for them. I think.
Yeah,
Like, I
there's
think
actually
what's
numbers on it. Like there's a
yeah,
solid percentage that consistently do it. Like a really
yeah.
solid percentage that consistently do it.
So I think for that group of people, like it's like for people who don't care about Zwift fashion, who cares about unlocks, right? But for people who really care about a climb portal, this stuff I would imagine is really great. I just, if I'm completely honest, I haven't used the climb portal since day one of its release. When it was released, I went and climbed 2 climbs and I've never used it again. Not because I have anything against it. It doesn't fit into my training at all to go just climb for like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just why I haven't done it. But I'm sure heaps of people love it, and maybe give us a comment. You'll be way better placed than me to answer whether this is a good or bad update to it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been doing a whole lot of climb portal either. Gabby does a ton, but I think she mainly does it because she's addicted to doing things in game and getting them done. Like she's just all about like I want to
Mm.
do the thing, I want to do that thing, I want to do that thing, and it's like it's
Yeah,
another thing to do. So since it's something to go do, I got to go do it. Like and so,
yeah, yeah,
um, and you only have a certain amount of time to do it. So there's like a motivation to go do that thing. But so the 50%, the 75%, the 100%, and now there's 125% elevation, and so the 50% and the 75%, from what I'm understanding, do not have. That's one thing about all of this is like they don't have Strava leaderboards, I guess. So like, but the
okay,
100% does. So they made sure to not have Strava have like all of these extra. So these are like gamified rides. So just as a heads up, everybody out there, like when you're doing in a climb portal, your ride, if you do the 50% or the 75%, will become gamified. That if you
mm,
select it and go and do that, and then you continue riding, that will be a gamified ride if you continue riding and don't exit and then restart, if that makes sense. Like you have to
yeah.
actually like
So
finish your
sorry,
ride.
will it show up in Strava as a ride, or is this just segments don't count?
Segments don't count, I believe is what that is, because so it'll show up and the segments don't
Yeah,
count because it's a gamified ride is how I understand it right now. Now my first
yeah,
understanding was that there was going to be like it's a gamified ride and there's other segments that are gamified, but no, I don't think that's actually that was my first
okay,
understanding of it, but I don't think that's what's happening. I got clarification actually from Eric and Llama actually like no, Nathan, you got it wrong. They're just gamified rides and there's no segments on that gamified ride. Whereas if you're
okay,
doing the
yeah, yeah, cool,
100% and maybe the 125, I think I'm no, I don't got
yeah.
that 100% clear. The 125s might not be gamified, but I'm not
I don't
positive
think they
about
are
that.
from seeing Llama's video. And also, you can only do the 125 if you've done the 100, I'm pretty sure. So it's like a little
It's an unlock.
yeah. I think it is
Gotcha.
an unlock. Yeah.
Yep, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So there we go.
Because
Gabby will
and of
be
course, well, she had the
slamming the
one. See,
100s.
I didn't think it was an unlock because I looked over and saw it on Gabby's. Well, guess who has it unlocked already? Of course. So,
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
of
Yeah, so
course.
I'm not like crazily pumped about them, but if people love those, it would be, I'm sure this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. So what else? That's mainly the big things. Is obviously the new levels. One, well, this is pretty big. The streaks. I think streaks are really cool. Like this is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Motivation to ride, rewards. So that's kind of the theme here. Is like, how are we going to reward Zwifters for doing cool things in game?
I've got a really mixed response to streaks. Now, I am kind of new to this, but I think streaks is like a thing across a whole bunch of things, right? Like it's a thing. Streaks, like you
You
get,
mean like in Snapchat?
well, there's something like a friend of mine was doing like a language course and then they got a streak of something.
Yeah,
So
on
I think there's an
Duolingo.
app. Yeah,
Duolingo has
yeah, right?
streaks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Snapchat has
Okay.
streaks. Like there's different. So like if you message someone every day on Snapchat, you create a streak. Like now, or
Yeah. Okay.
send them like a a selfie every day or something. You get a streak. Like and so
Okay.
and then you get that back and forth. So it rewards you for interacting on the platform. Same with Duolingo. If
Okay.
you practice Duolingo every day, you get a streak and it rewards you for practicing every day. So it's the same
Okay.
idea.
I
You
have a
ride
real, okay, yeah.
once or twice a week. Once a week, it unlocks the streak. Twice a week on the second ride, you get extra XP only on those two rides. So on the first ride and the second ride, there's an extra XP available, but the first ride always unlocks the streak. So all you have to do is ride once a
Okay.
week to get the streak.
Yeah, I've just got a funny, like, mixed feeling about streaks, the concept. I think if you're wanting to find motivation, like I said, the run training plan, I guess, could be called streaks. I have to run 3 days a week to get my 3 ticks on the training plan. And I found it really motivating because sometimes I'm a bit tired and I'm like, no, go on and get that 30-minute run done. Like, you can do it. Just get on and get it done. So I have personally found that really motivating. And I guess it's only 2 times a week, so it's fine. But I've just seen people with these freaking streaks and these other apps, and I'm like, who cares?
They
Like,
have to do
literally,
it.
someone's
They
like,
have to
I've
do
just,
it. Oh
I
my
know,
gosh, I'm
yeah.
gonna lose my thing. Like they get
And
so
at the
freaked
expense of
out.
like, you're sitting at like a cafe with people you haven't seen, and someone's freaking doing their thing, and they're like, I just got my 250-day streak. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Like, and now it's become so addictive. They have to do it every single day at the expense of anything they're doing around them. So if it doesn't, when I first started, I was like, oh my God, is this like Zwifting every day? Because that's a nightmare, but it's not. So I think it'll err on more of the side of motivation, but the concept of streaks every day, it is not driving the right human behavior, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, so for things that are like good for you, that it's a good motivation, that you have a goal in your life. I don't have a problem with it every day. Like, I'm trying to finish a book or I had a goal. Like you have some sort of goal, right? Like I'm trying to learn a language and it like encourages me. If I'm going to learn a language, I need to practice every day, right? And so now the fact that somebody
Mm-hmm.
didn't manage their time correctly and they're trying to do it at a table with you when they should be talking to you, yeah, that's a totally different. That's not whether or not there should be streaks in Duolingo or whatever. That's like put your phone down and talk to the people who are around you, like
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But like outside of that, there's a whole nother area where people are getting addicted to different kinds of screens, etc., about human behavior that you're saying, which I can agree with. But the once a week and then the extra, like when I see the streak page now, I actually get like, oh cool. And like I think that as far as Zwifting goes, I've always like wanted to see this area of questing or ways that you could
Mm.
do dailies or something that you get some sort of reward for. And so this is the first time that in game I actually felt like there was a screen with that kind of a reward that just came up after I accomplished something. Was like, oh, I got an extra prize and there's extra XP. And like it totally gave the
Yeah.
exact same feeling I would get when I like accomplished something in like some sort of game that I was like, World of Warcraft or something that like got me to come back to it and get something done and get some reward that got me
Mm.
further into the game. Like totally worked. It didn't hit as hard because it was like, I don't know, it's not as quite as rewarding as like I got a cool sword that actually like makes it so I'm better at, I don't know, like taking out some dungeon and a boss or with a bunch of my buddies or something. You know what I mean? That'd be a little bit different, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
heading in that direction. Like I am getting a reward that'll
Yeah.
unlock the Scotty cap, maybe. You know what I mean? So I think that's
Yeah, I
cool.
think like I have had to like really be aware of my relationship with Zwift and be very self-aware that I'm very addictive. I have a very addictive
Yeah.
personality.
Do you
And
have the
so
diamond
there are
sword yet in
certain
Minecraft? Like,
no, no. But like I am not kidding. I've had to turn up like say there's no more Minecraft this week. Like I cannot do this. And so I think the same with Zwift. Like it was this year I think where I was like I I cannot do Zwift Academy. Like, I know I want to get all the green ticks and do it all, but I cannot. Like, I will not fit it in, and I'll end up getting overstressed or like overworked to try and do this. But it is so hard because I see all the stuff come up, like the fondos, and I'm like, yeah, and it actually fit with my calendar. But will the next one? Probably not. And I've kind of had to work on myself to
I
be
wonder how many people there
okay.
are like this because Gabriella and I work on this together a little bit too, where I gave
Yeah,
her a very specific plan over the next, like, over the last 2 weeks and the next couple of weeks to finish Zwift Academy and be able to race in ZGP perhaps, and also maybe race ZRL, and she's doing this new sprint training thing, and all of this stuff just launched. And it's like, like there's so much going on that it was
yeah,
like, if she didn't have that plan, she might be doing like way too many things, right? Like way too many things. And
yeah.
even now today
And
after the
that's
launch, I'm actually looking over like, hey, you're level 65. How's it going? Is this a part of the plan? Like, are we on the plan? And but
yeah.
it's fine. It's a part of the plan. Like it was a part of the, but I'm like, all right, we on the plan still? Like, we good? Like kind of a thing. So I
So
can
that's
see.
like why I have a coach now. It's because I guess I'm just like opening up and admitting to everyone like I was becoming very addictive around Zwift and like unlocking this and doing that and doing these things to the point like sometimes it was, riding really late at night just to get this thing that I needed and I couldn't fit it in during the day because it was really busy or I felt a bit unwell. And then suddenly I'm like working my ass off in a workout just to get this tick and get a kit unlock. I was like, this is not benefiting me in any any way. I need to be like completely fine with not doing these things. And so I think like, yeah, the streaks thing, maybe it just like triggered it in me of like, oh no, like, like what would happen if I'd gone, I don't know, we've gone 40 weeks. So I often ride way more than twice a week. So likely, I'll be like, oh, I've gone 40 weeks of Zwifting every 2 weeks. I'm about to go on a 1 week family holiday. I'll just take my trainer and then I'll keep the streak going. And it's like, in reality, no, I should not take my trainer. I should just have a week off. And that's, I think, where I get a little bit like, oh, for me, it like just makes me tense a little bit that I'm like, oh God, like, I don't think I can get involved in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also think that there's different ends of the spectrum here, right? Like we're
Mm,
on one end of the spectrum that, is very much so, I think, a pointy end of who the general Zwift. I think there's a lot more of that pointy end, I guess I would say also though too, that like the general user for a really long time was beyond just a cycling enthusiast. The people who are riding inside, staring at a garage wall were the first adopters of Zwift. And that's a very specific type of individual that would be doing that. And so
mm-hmm.
they're very motivated individuals. They're going to have the tendencies that you're talking about of getting, all of these things done and very type A and all that kind of stuff. And then, there's another end of the spectrum that like you're starting to get more into general fitness users and people who just looking for some motivation and like what's going to, keep me riding
Yeah.
and get me on. And I think that is where there's another end of this that's like, it's just something that like keeps you riding. It's something to go for.
Yeah. Which I think is awesome. And I think as long as you're self aware about it, it's fine. And I'm self aware and I'm like, I can't get on that bandwagon because I think it'll start driving bad, bad behaviors in myself to like keep a streak going. So I'm just kind of like, I think go do it if it makes you motivated. But like, yeah, I don't think I can do it.
All right. Well, Next up here, that's it for the updates. I wanted to chat a little bit quickly, Coach's Corner here, on Mindset Matters. And this is something I stumbled upon over with Huberman, actually, with the Huberman podcast. Found it extremely interesting, actually. It was just a little like tidbit that then I did a little bit deeper dive into, actually, where he had a podcast with Dr. Aaliyah Crum on mindset and why it matters. And there's been 2 different studies actually that they referenced about this. And it has it's a little bit of a piggyback off of the idea of like, what's your hero story and what you're telling yourself, but that in both of these studies. So here's what happened in these studies. And it's all about belief and about what you believe about the stress that you are experiencing, and that it actually really, really matters. In both of the situations, one of the situations was they set up a control group and a separate group where they had them just clean. Okay. And one of the groups was like cleaning a room and the other one was cleaning a room. Both groups just cleaned. One group was told that this benefits their health and it was doing certain things to benefit their health. A, B, C, and D, boom, 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 boom. And another group wasn't told anything about this whatsoever. It was just an extra stress added to their life. They have to go clean this room. Totally different results about what ended up happening. One group had the group that didn't have any belief, no beliefs going in about what they were doing, had no changes to any metrics that you would for physical exercise outcomes. The other group had tons of changes to their body. Now, what like and like actual like responses as if they were getting what they were told they were going to get out of it. Now, did the group that they were given this information work harder because they were told it was healthy for them to go and do that? You know, there might be some motivational things that changed with that. So because of that control with that, they went and did the same thing with rats. And so later on, they so there were some qualifications about this, was that like rats will it was interesting. They qualified part of the podcast with like, did you know that like if you just put those running wheels into the middle of a field, you'll find rats running on them at night. They just like to run on these things. I'm not like, no joke. They'll just find them. So like they tend to like to do this. And with the one rat that had the choice, so they were next to each other, and whenever one rat's wheel that it would run on had the choice to go run on it, the other rat had to run the way that they'd set it up whenever the one rat chose to run. Okay? So they both ran at the same time, except for one had a choice and wanted to run, and the other one just had to run when the other one was running. Okay? That's just how it worked. Mm-hmm. Same result. The one that got the stress without having the motivation and was forced to do it through drudgery actually had negative effects on its health. And the other one had positive effects on its health. Same exercise was experienced. Okay?
Yeah.
So walking into exercise in the way, and so I need to hear this, because sometimes I will walk into like, I have to get this done, but it's drudgery and I'm whipping myself to do this and I hate what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to get it done. Whereas like, now maybe I'm still getting something out of it. This is where I need to question, like, am I believing in, do I still have a hope though on the other side of it? Do I still have a belief about it on the other side of it? Might still impact whether or not I get a positive, you know what I mean, out of it?
Whereas, well, I think it would, because you're gonna go into it knowing like, I don't want to do this, but I know the result will make me better. I think you would still go into it knowing that, so you'll get through it. Like this workout I did during the week, I knew it was going to be horrible, and I wouldn't say I enjoyed much of it, but I knew it would make me feel better.
So the belief that you have about it is that it's going to make you better, and so your tenacity idea, and this was actually all this whole what part of the podcast was focused around tenacity and this like AAMC part of the brain that like they're starting to realize is about our will to live. Like literally you can turn on this part of your brain and practice this part of your brain that's about your will to live. And it can like increase that willpower and tenacity by turning it on more and more by doing these things that are hard, but you believe are good for you to go do. Really, really interesting stuff,
Yeah.
actually. So, anyways, I just wanted to relate that to like how we're going into our workouts and what we're believing about them and how we're using them to get things done is like super, super important. And I think also, I don't know, I do sense though, this is just a sense, just a feeling, just like there are certain workouts I go into that don't have that belief on the other end of them though. Like I almost feel like this meaninglessness in them. Like this, like I'm just doing this to do this. And there isn't really anything on the other end of it other than like I have to get my workout in. And sometimes I wonder if
I'd
like that
agree
one's
with
not
that.
actually
Yeah.
helpful.
I think so. So I'd give an example. This workout that I did, the third time I finished it, I actually messaged Claire and was like, I don't want that workout again. Like, and the reason being is I think I would feel that. Like I'd go into it and be like, at least for a while, like at least for a few months, I think I'd just see it and be like, there's a whole lot of pain there. I've done it enough to achieve it now. I just like I can't see anything that I want out of that right now. And therefore I don't think I would be able to push the numbers because I'd hit the second set and be like, like I don't feel like
Yeah,
this.
that's
I
so
totally get
interesting.
that.
There's interval sets now. So I wonder it now this you guys this isn't the same thing that okay, so as far as verifiability like verifying things, now we're off in non-verified land, okay? I just want to qualify that. This is 100%
Awesome.
just
That's my
at
favorite land.
no, like well, cuz like this is just my subjective experience now across this, but there's certain interval sets I don't believe in right now. Like I don't actually
Mm.
but I don't believe in them in a way that like I'm burnt out on them or like I've kind of like overused. I think there's like a novelty a little bit that like that's why it's good to have a little bit of change up here and there and have some novelty or have some like what's I don't know, like a visiting of a place where I know I can get that done and there's a good feeling around it and you get through it. And even if it was really, really, really hard, and here's the other thing that came out of this podcast, actually, too, that's related to that. Failure without the belief that the failure was good had a downward trajectory of this part of your brain opening up, actually. So when people were failing in their
So
diets, they got worse. If they completed the diet, though, and they did well in it, it got better. But they also talked about how that can be really bad on both ends. Like there's an extreme in the dieting sense where it goes to anorexia, where you get too rewarded too many times, and it like is one of the worst things you could probably go
it's like
into.
addictive, yeah.
Yeah, it gets really addictive to have that reward. That was really interesting, that part of it though too. But so anyways, you're gonna say, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the motivation thing, like a really good example I would have is like in my last year of racing professionally, I'd laid out my season and it finished with this race in like whatever month it was. And like 2 months before that race, I was done. Like I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I had no desire. And that last race that I did was like one of the most unpleasant experiences of racing because you're on the bike. It's a 90-kilometer TT. It was a 70.3 race. And I just remember the whole time on the bike, I was like, this is just miserable. Like it's just there was no it's like I'd had the choice to do it. Like I could have not done it, but I actually had sponsors and stuff. So I'd laid out my season and said that's what I'll be doing. But trying to do something that you have no belief in and believe that it's gonna get something good out the other side is I could see like if you're wanting to get fit and you actually have no belief or want to even do it, man, it is a struggle.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Motivation. Motivation. It's got to have that hope on the other end of it. It's got to have like, what is that you're
Yeah.
going after? Like there's purpose on the
Yeah.
other side of it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like I guess
Interesting.
back to if we round out back to like our initial chat at the start, it was like ZRL, best result that I've had, yet
What was
worst
the point?
feeling
What was the
at the
point?
end.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like what
I
was the
was just
purpose?
like it, and the purpose for me was not that, it turns out. And so it kind of like I think it is really important. Like if you're getting into a journey of wanting to do something, man, you've got to believe in it. Because like you said, if you start to fail at something and then it becomes worse and worse, you could not only not reach your goal, but not reach it and feel worse during the process, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, if you want to check that out, everybody, just as a heads up, you can look up that Dr. Alia Crum, ALIA, Science of Mindsets for Health and Performance. It's Huberman Lab podcast 56. And Huberman was also on another podcast real quickly. I think I can get it up here with and my YouTube just reset. Chris Williamson, and talked all about this actually just 4 days ago. The one with Aaliyah Crum was from 2022. She's been studying this all the way back like early 2000s actually. But then he was referencing all of this and also that AAMC idea about the will to live ideas and those parts of the brain on the Chris Williamson podcast actually just 4 days ago. So you guys can go check that out. Some really cool content. Just thought it was a cool little tidbit though, that related to like the purpose stuff we had talked about telling yourself the right hero stories that we have about like what we're doing and why we're doing it with the narrative, like as we go into workouts, and that like that also it kind of relates about having a belief about the workout and like what the hope is on the other side of it, that it's important, that it's positive, and that if you get into a negative cycle there, it can have a really downward trajectory and to not get too far into that. So anyways.
I could totally imagine that. And also I kind of believe that the perceived effort would become so hard if you don't have a belief in it.
I mean, just in this last 3 weeks, I experienced this. Like I'm starting like, OMG, I got some old man Guerra syndrome going on. Like I get a hurt back, right? Then I get sick. Then like it was like thing after thing, and you're just like, is there another side? Is there an outside to this? You know what I mean? And I've been through this process many times, but like I'm just gotta like I start going into like, well, what's reality here? Can I compete at this highest level still? You know what I mean? You start asking these questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so then though, what's funny is like because I know this stuff about myself, I start like asking questions to like repurpose the purpose. You know what I mean? Like, and find another thing to go after, at least for a different belief. Because I know I need a different belief now. If that's actually shifting, all right, well, let's find the new belief. It's not like I want to like stop riding my bike, or maybe I do. Maybe I just want to go lift weights now. I don't know. Like,
well, yeah, right.
That could be a thing, anyways. But that's not the thing, because I found new motivation and new belief today. So we're all in, anyways.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it.
All right, so Jersey pick of the week. Fondo. I absolutely love these scenes. Shout out to Gabs, because these are awesome. Jersey pick of the week.
And that's me.
Fondo. That's you.
That's me in the actual Fondo ride with my orange Tron, orange headband, orange glasses, paired with the white Zwift socks.
62 socks. 62 socks, I think, would go well with this, just so you know. You got to hit level 62.
God, okay. Oh my gosh, I need to get past level 58. So this ride, there was a lot of chat about the kit, a lot. So I said I was going to mention some of it on the pod, which a lot of people said it looked like they were a pumpkin, which I kind of get, like, because it's pretty much like a Thanksgiving ride, right? So it's like a pumpkin spice kind of a kit. I usually really hate the color orange. And I was like, kind of wondering with the ride, like, oh no, it's going to be orange jerseys everywhere. But it wasn't too bad. Like, I liked the design on the back, and the orange isn't like a real Zwift orange. It's like a pumpkin spice latte. So I didn't mind it. I wouldn't, again, like, I think the theme of these Fondos makes the kit really high, because I love that you can unlock these cool kits. But I'd only give the kit maybe like a 7.
I'm going to give it, you're really good at these 1 to 10s, because I'm going to have to say 7 as well, actually.
Okay.
I mean, your outfit, though, I'm going to give it an 8 because of your outfit. Actually, because you matched that really well.
I paired it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Took me a while.
Nice headband, by the way. We didn't mention anything about
I know, I'm rocking that again.
about the headband that's
Look
suddenly
at Nathan's
on.
headband.
Where'd that come from?
You've got to
Oh my
mention it.
gosh. Where's this headband coming from? Yeah, we have obviously. That's just a little sneak peek. We're going to leave it at that, I think. We're going to leave it at that. I think Anna's going to have a headband though soon too. Like, so that'll be
I'm going to wear it all the time. Just
all
to
the time?
work, out for dinner,
We
everywhere.
need a picture of that.
He's so
it
good.
needs to be like in your pocket and you can just like bust it out and put it on at like
Oh.
random times and take selfies on Instagram
all the time.
and tag us in ZCL. Then we could like make it a thing, like random
I'll do
ZCL
that.
headbands. Because your thing is headbands. Like your thing is the whole nice headband, by the way. I will never get that scene of you de-essing that TTT and seeing Gabby's headband and be like, nice headband, by the way. Just had to get that in there. Just had to get that
I know.
in there.
I did. Now I know I haven't put a photo up yet of the non-playable, what are they called?
NPCs.
No, non-playable.
NPCs.
Non-playable characters. But I did want to shout out. So if you're heading out for your weekend ride on Zwift this weekend, go do one of the new courses where you enter the new road from the jungle and ride the road. And I don't know if it was the music I was listening to. I don't know if the sun had just gone down, like actual sun. But I was riding through the bit with the leaves falling or the pine needles falling. And there are these two houses on the right-hand side. And they just gave off the most haunted house vibe. Like, it actually kind of freaked me out. Like, I was like, I just want to get past these houses as fast as I can.
The new coastal section?
Yeah. So it's these two kind of big houses. And it's kind of, I'd say, like 2/3 of the way through if you've started from the jungle. And they're on your right. And it's in that misty pine coney area. And it's just these houses. And I was just staring at them being like, this is creeping me out.
You actually got scared?
And so, yeah.
Like, you actually got a little scared?
I did. Like, I suddenly looked and my power was high and I was like rushing to get past them. I was like, oh my gosh,
you're, like,
that
getting
just fully,
chased
like,
up,
creeped
like
me out.
you even had the like I'm being chased to the door feeling at night from the kitchen, like kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like a real freaky vibe. So if anyone else has had that with those two houses, let me know. Or maybe I was just like way too.
We need a story around that now. Now we need like a full on NPC story there.
I'll do it for you for next week. I'll face my fears and ride past them again and get a photo. And I'm like I even felt like there was someone in the window. Like it was that kind of a like freak out.
Now you're scaring me. Someone in the window gives me like
I know.
Well,
there we go. Do it tonight.
Non-player character stories is what we're looking for from all of you. If you want to share them, go ahead and do so. Anna's got a story, it sounds like, coming out of the new coastals with a haunted house. But we definitely want to hear yours. We did get a new submission actually as well over on the fashion in the field. There are buttons over on ZwiftCommunityLive.com/podcast where you can submit both your non-player character stories as well as your fashion picks. I think next week we'll have one coming out of the community. We really appreciate all of the submissions that do come in. So what's coming up over the next week, Anna? What are you up to?
So I'm here in Topor watching Ironman 70.3 tomorrow. It should be fun. I've got like 6 athletes racing, so it'd be cool to cheer them on. There's a lot of people trying to get World Champs spots because World Champs is here next year, which is really cool. And then I am doing, I think I've got like that 5x5 minute workout on Monday. And then on Wednesday, it's like, I'm so devastated. Like, it's really hard. So I've got my, like ZRL for me is at 1:20 p.m. and we're doing the high, whatever it's called. And our team.
Muckle Yin. We're doing the Muckle Yin.
Muckle Yin. We're doing Muckle Yin. So AO beat us in the last race by 2 points. 2 points they beat us by. We are now tied at the top. And it comes down to whoever has the most finishing points to break a tie. I cannot race for the team next week because my son has his Junior Jingles Christmas concert. And the Junior Jingles Christmas concert starts 30 minutes after the race starts. I was like, can I do it? Like, how fast is this course? And I'm like, I don't think I can do it. So I'm really gutted. Like I'm actually really gutted because I was really looking forward to that course with my team. But I've actually got a slot. We have a second Riot team who's racing EMEA, so I'm going to race for that team in the morning my time. So I get to
Nice.
do it. I just am
Nice.
like,
It's a good course.
oh,
It's a good
the
course.
closeness.
It's a really good course.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm feeling good for
Good
it.
course. Huh.
What about you?
Yeah, so I'm lifting weights. I rode after ZGP today, did an hour and a half of base work. Then I went and watched my daughter wrestle actually this afternoon. She like killed it. Like she pinned in like the
Awesome.
first round. Like what? She came out just ferocious. This is her first match actually of the season, and just bam. So she's trying to go to state again this year. I'm super proud of her. So shout out to Karis there. But and then came home and I was like so tired, but I did the motivation thing and was like, you're gonna feel better if you just start doing it, Nathan. So I did start doing my Gojuru warm-ups, and I was like, I got my son Milo, my youngest, to start like doing some push-ups with me. And like I was like, all right, hold my legs. And like in Gojuru, there's a way where like when you're doing warm-ups where you attach your feet and your ankles together so that you like pull on each other, you know? And
Mm.
so like you grab the other person's ankles with
Oh, the
your
other
feet.
person. Yeah,
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 and they grab
yeah,
your ankles inside and you grab on the outside, or vice versa, right? And then you do and
yeah.
so one of the things to really test my back has been whether or not I can do a sit up, because like that. And so I have to keep it super, super straight, only go so far, but the core was good enough there. I was so excited that I actually do a sit up, was able to do some sit ups. And then like got motivated. I was like, oh, okay, I can actually like move and like stretch, and oh my gosh, like, so then I did some like, at home weightlifting stuff, which was really great. So that's all that to say, like, cool. We're incorporating some weightlifting over the next week. We have a month from today ish, a little more than a month before the next Zwift Grand Prix for the men. So like, I'm like, oh, cool. Cause it's been hard to like get any training
Mm.
in when you're racing every week or every other week with Zwift Grand Prix with all the stuff that's been going on. So I'm kind of like excited that I can kick off into this next month of just being able to kind of focus on some training. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, is focus on that. I'll race ZRL next week as well, probably after maybe a base ride. We'll see. But I'm excited to like get some redemption on Uncle Yin. Hopefully after what happened today, because I think I was still suffering from a little bit of sickness too. So I'm like, oh, I want to go see how I can do next week. So that's kind of the plan, is just like get into some really good rhythm of training again, and see if we can like get on that upward trajectory, because it's kind of been like I've tried to go at it and it's kind of seen some benefits, but then also going like up, down, up, down, up, down. So that's kind of
Mm.
where we're heading right now as far as my training goes. Besides that, we've got a lot going on ZCL. Like there's so much going on ZCL right now, everybody, that like, I mean, just whoa, there's just a lot going on. And like, not just with, up to 6 to 7 broadcasts a week, to
It's
like a
nuts.
ton of stuff going on in the background outside of that. I actually have a meeting with FRR that's coming up, so that maybe some things going on with Flamme Rouge. I'm
Mm.
chatting with Chasing Tour, looking toward the future with that as well. So I mean, there's just a ton going on, and it's really exciting actually, because I feel like there's I don't know, like a resurgence in the connection of the community. It felt like over the last 2 to 3 years there was like a scattering, and now it's like a
Mm.
little bit more of a coming back together. It feels like right now in some ways around like some uh touch points, or like main mountaintop, I don't know how to even say, like strongholds or places in the community that are like really, really firm foundations for going to for
Yeah.
racing. So it's really cool to see that, and we'll see what happens because of that. Like if there's ways that we can support that and grow each one of those areas, because there's a lot of organizers out there that are doing a great job, and if we can help them grow even more, and benefit the community as best as we can, that's kind of the goals over the next couple weeks. So that's also the next week, is like getting some things for the spring, the next week and weeks to come, for what's coming into
Yeah.
late winter and spring for everything that's happened with Zwift Community Live. So, yeah.
I love it. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's good stuff. Well, hey, everybody, that is going to be it, I think, here for today for episode number 73. Again, this is a podcast that you can listen to as well. You can download it anywhere that you do download your podcast. Just go ahead and search The Wrap and Zwift, and you'll be able to find it pretty quickly. Or head on over to zwiftcommunitylive.com/podcast. You can find all of the audios over there. We'll be back next week for episode number 74. We've been live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure to hit that follow button, subscribe, like, and comment. Get a quick question here. Where can I order one of my own towels as well as headbands and all of that kind of stuff? Guess what? You'll know all about that, Karsten, in the next week. We should have that out there. So, dropping that one right at the end here. But hey, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for episode number 74. As always, from me and Anna and I, right on.